Hello, current clients, past clients, and future clients. I'm Rebecca Lindquist, the speech and accent coach in the Bay Area, and I'd like to speak specifically to people from India. One of the challenges with speaking American English when you come from India is that you already speak English fluently in most cases, and unlearning is always harder than learning. What I mean by that is you might have trouble saying words like development or distributor because you say them differently. So one of the most important things Indian speakers can be aware of is that in American English, we tend to stress one syllable longer than the others. By longer, I mean more voice time. So let's go back to that word development. I have a lot of clients who have trouble stressing that syllable. They say things like development, keeping all of the syllables approximately the same length, and then going up and down in pitch. Now, the British also use more pitch. So growing up in India, you may have had British-influenced teachers. In fact, you probably did. And whether you were English medium schooled or not, you probably learned patterns that are very different from the patterns used in American English. So one of the first things to work on, along with word stress, because obviously learning which syllable to stress is important, is focusing on the length of sound. That's where the band comes in. And I use a stretch band to help clients say words like strategy and then distinguish that from a word like strategic. I often call that working with word families. So if you jot down all the words that people ask you to repeat, or words that are just challenging to say, maybe they don't roll off your tongue, or you find that when you say them they just sound different and you'd like to change them and make them more readily understandable by American listeners, then start keeping a list. Even just jotting words down when you notice them or when someone asks you to repeat a word or seems a little bit confused. Maybe someone will look at you like, what was that you said? And after a while, you'll start to see patterns. The pattern might be what I just mentioned, word stress, words like develop, developer, developing. But it could also be a partnership between the R sound and word stress. So for example, that word strategy, if your R is pronounced differently, like if you're saying strategy instead of strategy with the tongue going back on the R, two things, what I call a loaded word, having two or three items in the same word that are difficult for you to say or change, can make the word unintelligible to someone. So that word I just said, strategy, if you said it that way, an American might ask you to repeat. The same is true if you couple a TH with an R and a challenge vowel. So if you said a word like throw me the ball, throw it to me. You notice how doing that throw sound is actually three sounds. First the th, then the and then the o. So just by elongating and separating the boundary between those sounds, you become much more intelligible. Throw me the ball. That TH sound is so challenging for people from India because you pronounce your T sound different than we do. The T as in test. So if you said something like take a test, you might notice your T is more like take a test. So if you have that type of a T, you want to learn how to use your tongue differently so that you can distinguish the T from the Th. And that TH sound is so long and breathy for us because we lift our tongue completely off the low teeth. So the tongue's working completely by itself and it's moving at the front teeth like this. Completely squeezing or connecting the tongue muscles to the front teeth muscles. Think about it. So it doesn't sound like think about it, which sounds like a T as in Tinkerbell. So if you said something like Tinkerbell thinks about it, you can really hear the difference. If you didn't distinguish those sounds, Tinkerbell, think about it, those sound very, very similar to an American. So part of it is articulation, for sure. Another thing interesting among people from India is there's a lot more freedom in the neck. When people from India talk, there's a little bit of movement. So suppressing that movement by allowing movement to occur, that's the important thing. It's not about stiffening and stopping, but you suppress the free flow of movement, and instead you engage through the feet, long spine, head, crown of the head, goes to the ceiling, and then you inhale and exhale as you speak, allowing all those sounds like the throw me the ball, allowing those sounds to emerge as you inhale and exhale. This will also help you to talk more slowly. Notice I'm not trying to talk slow. I'm simply elongating words, keeping the right syllable a little bit longer. These are a few areas you might want to work on if you're from India. And if you'd like more specific information, I'd be happy to coach you. Give me a call.